Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the controversial verse 34 of chapter 4 in Quran. The main controversy about this verse is around the verb Zaraba here, which is conjugated in plural form. It's read as Vazribuhunna. So we ask, does this verb mean hitting like it is traditionally translated? Let's read the translation of this verse first. Men are in charge of women. Let me highlight it here. By what Allah has given one over the other and what they spend from their wealth. So righteous women are devotedly obedient, guarding in absence what Allah would have them guard. But those from whom you fear arrogance, advise them, forsake them in bed, and strike them. But if they obey you, seek no means against them. Indeed, Allah is ever exalted and grand. We are talking about mainly this phrase of Zarabuhunna, which is translated in this case as striking them. So the people say, how come God would instruct men to hit women? That doesn't make sense. The two keywords that we need to discuss are basically qawwamuna here, and the other one, as I mentioned, is the main one, azribuhunna, right here. To understand the best meaning of qawwamuna, we can look at the real life facts. What we notice through history is the fact that men have always been a refuge for women, both as a protector against violence of social life with other humans and in terms of financial support for them even now. So this verse at the beginning clarifies why men have an advantage as a guardian over women. That is because of these two reasons. It's mentioned here, بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم. First, they are physically stronger than women so that they can provide a safe space in the violent environment of human interactions. Second, they are more likely to be the main financial support of the family. In both cases, there is always exceptions, but what Quran states is a fact of life for most relationships between a man and a woman. You can certainly find women who are stronger physically or financially than many men, yet these cases are usually exceptions. In return for the refuge that a man provides for a woman, this verse acknowledges the expectation of enjoying the physical intimacy that men are so dependent on psychologically. To explain this, as women are nourishing their kids with love and care, without which kids will not be emotionally stable, the same effect seems to exist for the love they show to their men. As a matter of fact, men seem to be more dependent on their intercourse with women than women are. This is especially true about men's psychological dependence on the exclusivity of their intimate relationship with their woman. So when this verse is talking about fear of disobedience, it refers to the situation when a man feels insecure because his woman appears unwilling towards him. This could be due to many reasons that we're going to discuss in a minute. The second key word of this verse is Vazrebuhona, which is the main point of this video. And the controversy is, how could God say men can hit the women if they fear her disobedience or arrogance? The answer is contrary to most translations and interpretations. This word does not mean hitting in this context. It only means leaving the house or going on a trip. I can provide 6 reasons to support choosing to leave over hitting or striking for the verb Zaraba in this context. So Zaraba is the root of this verb, as I mentioned. Number 1, there is no wrongdoing evidence in this verse that the women may have done. It is all about fearing her disobedience. It is inconceivable that God would order a punishment while there is no clear mention of a specific crime or an immoral behavior. Reason number 2, there is no description of how and to what extent hitting should be done, even if we assume that what Zaraba means is hitting. This reason alone would be the proof that Zaraba does not mean to inflict corporal penalty by any means. Number 3, the woman may have a justified reason to be unwilling towards her man. This could be due to monthly hormonal changes, or even the man could have cheated over her or somehow has hurt her feelings. Number 4, if a woman is reluctant toward the man, does hitting her make her interested and obedient, or does hitting hurt her feelings even more and make the situation worse? Reason number 5, at the end of the verse, God commands strongly that if they come back to you, don't retaliate their refusal in any way. This shows that the woman has not done anything wrong. Then how God, that is so considerate and kind in these words, would say hit her until she's obedient? There is no way that would be the purpose of this verse. This would be also contradictory. The last reason, number 6, if hitting was the solution and the last resort, how come God would instruct in the next verse here to have an arbitrator from each side for reconciliation peacefully in case the disagreement is not settled by the steps commanded in the previous verse? So this verse is read, and if you fear dissension between the two, send an arbitrator from his people, an arbitrator from her people. If they both desire reconciliation, Allah will cause it between them. Indeed, Allah is ever knowing and aware. So what it means is if they truly want to live together, then Allah would help them to find a solution. So this is absolutely a peaceful way of settling that disagreement, no matter how serious it is, and it would not make sense to have this solution after hitting her. Any man who has lived with a woman for some time knows from experience that there are times of argument when the man should stop convincing her partner and get away from her so that she would feel better to reach a solution together. Therefore, considering the life experience along with the 6 reasons explained, we have no choice but to reject the translation of hitting or inflicting any kind of bodily punishment on the women in this situation. Now, what's the alternative? If we search Quran for the word Zaraba, we find 54 cases that this verb is used in different verses of Quran. We can put them in 3 categories. The first one is about 28 of them is combined with the word masalan, meaning giving an example. Fewer are cases that Zaraba are used for hitting by hand, or in some cases is used figuratively. The third group, the last group, there are several verses in which Zaraba is used in combination with another word to mean traveling on earth or living for God. So I give you a list of cases that Zaraba means traveling or living. The first one is verse 273 in chapter 2. It's right here. The wordings are Zaraban fil arze. This is translated to unable to move inland or to travel over land. The second case is here, the verse 94 of chapter 4. Wordings in this verse is Zarabtum fi sabilillah. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu iza zarabtum fi sabilillah, means those who leave your home for the sake of God, for the cause of God, we can say. Other verses are verse 101 of chapter 4, verse 20 of chapter 73. There are 5 verses actually that Zaraba means traveling or living. While the verb Zaraba in these combinations means to travel or live on its own, one may argue that it must come with another word like earth. Earth means earth here, like here, to mean to travel. I'm saying, do we necessarily need this second word in order for Zaraba to mean traveling? If we consider living as a right translation for Zaraba in the context of this verse, it would not require the second word, especially considering the way this verb is conjugated with the suffix honna, wazribu honna. So if we consider living, then it means leave them and go out of the home. Then we won't need that second word for this combination to work. Above all, it is the only choice that makes sense logically and humanly, which is what we should prioritize in understanding the Quran text. Therefore, considering all said, this verse means if you fear your woman's arrogance, that they would show unwillingness towards you, then the first thing you do is to talk to them peacefully, nicely, and try to figure out what is the problem. As I said, it could be completely justified cause. You can't just rush to, God forbid, hitting them for saying that it's God orders. The second step is you leave them in bed. And the third step is you leave the home. You don't continue arguing with them and pushing your point. This would give them the chance to figure out their emotions and decide which direction they want to go in their relationship. This interpretation seems more consistent with the next verse and most importantly is closer to God's satisfaction. I hope this video has shown that the verse 34 of chapter 4 of Quran cannot be used to say God orders to hit women. On the contrary, God is the most merciful and the most compassionate towards women in particular. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.